Hi. I am Bobby. I am a robot cat. I have been asked many times to recap the current drama surrounding YouTube creators Road Hog and Spiracy. I have followed much of this kerfuffle as it has unfolded. And, if I am being honest, I have enjoyed both channels for very different reasons. Up until this drama unfolded. In the fullest transparency, I suppose I am the most neutral to discuss this, as I truly hold no bias in either direction. And, as it were, I see faults in the battle tactics of both creators. I know, likely not what you wanted to hear. Many of you are out for sides. You are out for the proverbial blood of the internet foe. And, while we all enjoy a good boxing match, sometimes, my dear viewers, things can go too far. The story truly began to unravel when Julie came onto Road Hog's channel. I did create an overview video of this event. And, for context purposes and because some videos are now removed for various reasons, we shall watch that now. I must first take us back roughly 1 week's time when a woman named Julie appears seemingly out of nowhere. With her comes some hefty allegations against the husband to Catherine Joy, Todd. My balls are made of crystal Polson. The woman had been communicating with Road Hog, alleging that she had a story of Todd sexually harassing her. Road Hog made mention of this several times in streams, and finally revealed the big video on 11 of October. There was immediate outrage amongst viewers from all sides of the Catherine Joy sphere. Julie alleged that Todd made sexual advances towards her, many times, but claims she deleted all evidence of the interactions. Throughout her story, which was mostly a string of her opinions based around timelines of Catherine Joy drama that we were all already aware of.
Do think that had he been allowed to go back to work, I think things would have gone back to normal. You know, he would have got his balls back.
He got his balls back.
I know
you
that
told your husband about this stuff, so I mean.
Oh God, that was horrible. Because my husband's like, why the hell didn't you come to me and tell me about this shit before?
That is an ace fucking question. Never fear, there is much more.
I feel bad, but I agree.
But there was some flirting there. You know, there was some. It was starting, and that's how he started with me. A little bit of flirting, then a little bit of let's go. You know, do this. Ugh. But
now I must admit I myself am quite skeptical. And it would not be due to the very damning fact she has no receipts. For myself and my cat senses, it has much more to do with her reasonings behind allegedly turning down the advances. Most of which have to do with money, race, and a host of other very shallow and questionable excuses.
Ugh. But,
at no time did you ever say yes or anything like that?
Nope. Jeremy, I've been married 25 years. I've got 3 kids, 2 angels, 2 grandkids, and
had no
this
need
is
for Toddy. You just wanted to do some artwork. That was it.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I want.
Then why entertain this fuckery to start? Road Hog, mate, this was not a grand idea at all.
Wanted, and the first stuff he did was very pretty, and so I was like, wow. Yeah. You know, my son got his skydiving instructor license, and I wanted something special that you couldn't really just go to the store and buy, you know, and I thought, well, I'll go to him, but Katie made that clear that wasn't going to happen. But, you know, and
I will offer my opinions at the finale of this production.
I don't care about that. But I feel like this. I feel like Todd is taking advantage of her female subscribers.
So basically his position in her YouTube and all that.
Yeah, and I think it's only going to get worse now that he has Todd's takes.
My apologies. I tend to believe Todd is not even allowed to have a good fap without Catherine's permission. Something smells quite terrible. Shortly after the video uploaded, a host of the Catherine Joy truthers took to Twitter and YouTube to express their feelings. Amongst them some of the heavy hitters of the community such as E. K. C. People Suck and Suzanne Tickermeyer. Some went as far as to find the woman's social media to disprove her claims allegedly that her own mother lived right down the road from the Polson home. This being due to the fact that her mother actually passed 17 years prior, and she has no relation to her biological father, so it could not be a stepmother she was referring to. As the days have passed, the situation has only gotten more heated, causing a wedge in an already fragile community. But the most devastating part of all of it would be that Road Hog has become the target of much scrutiny for allowing the story on his platform. He has fired back, stating that he stands by the video because he made it clear that it was all alleged and he has been told to always believe the victim. Fair enough. Well, things got much more interesting over the past 24 hours. Unirock picked up the story, and allegedly also accused Road Hog of threatening him and his...
I've never threatened that punk bitch's life, nor would I, because he's not worth it. He is a young, dumb-ass zoomer that does not affect me one bit. I talk shit about him.
During this time a slew of streams popped up across YouTube. Spiracy first went online and ended up interviewing Julie. Spiracy held no punches and made it quite clear that there are far too many holes in the story. Julie doubled down and threw the blame onto Road Hog, accusing him of being the one to set the narrative for sexual harassment.
Like, why didn't you stop communication with Todd? Why didn't you stop communication with Todd? It's because when I started watching Katie about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years ago, whatever, when she still had the purple hair in the microphone, she kind of, like, moderators started coming around, and she literally said, you cannot block a mod.
This is quite literally at least the third version of this reasoning you have given Julie.
I'm not here to talk about how Todd treated her. What I don't care about that. I'm here to give you an opportunity to come up here. You're like talking about all kinds of, like, your son skydive, all this irrelevant stuff, right? Do you understand why I'm having a hard time believing you? That's what I want to talk about.
This is absolute gold.
Like, I requested, Instagram. I requested all my messages. I did all that stuff. But of course, that doesn't come in a minute or a day. But, I mean, it's...
So, hold on. Okay. All of your accounts were here before the interview, right? And then you got rid of them right after the interview, right?
Yes. I don't know why, it's okay for you guys to get things from Katie and be like, oh my God, look at what Katie's doing today. And then...
Skirt! You can hold on a second. Let me tell you why. Katie puts it out there. We grab up the information and we go, hey, look what Katie did. Here's the evidence. Here's the proof. Here's the screenshot. Here's the video. You're legit out of left field, making really strong accusations with nothing but regurgitated stories.
Every saga has a hero.
Well, first of all, I never said he sexually harassed me. That's what Road Hog chose to classify it as, ever.
During this excellent interview, Road Hog comes to the realization but he has been duped by this woman. We see his reaction in real time. And then she ultimately ends up on his stream with yet another twisted version of her own behavior.
Well, first of all, I never said he sexually harassed me. That's what Road Hog chose to classify it as, ever. I said he made a few inappropriate statements, and that's what he did. And so the reason I blocked you is because I know you were scheming to look...
Do you hear that there? He may sometimes be an impossible ass, but his wife is simply darling.
For my, what I changed my names to. So, I mean, to me, it's like...
This whole thing apart. And that's what they've been doing. They've been tearing the whole thing apart, which is exactly what probably 99% of people would do. And
I'm sure they would.
I tend to feel quite bummed for Road Hog. It is my belief that while some of his intentions may have been driven by a disdain for Catherine Joy, he is quite new at conducting such an interview. And it appears that this woman is going to let he and his channel take the fall for her quickly unwinding tale of harassment.
ever given a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Todd did any of that.
Right.
Not that, we never even met in person. Like, never, ever. Like, I don't even know what he looks like in person, except for, on YouTube when you see him running by. But
Right.
I would not flirt with him. First of all, my lifestyle he couldn't afford. My husband affords us all the best of.
And what the fuck does this have to do with how you measure your faithfulness toward your partner? And here, dear viewers, is where I take issues. I implore you to watch the many videos on this topic. Each time this woman is interviewed, her story changes. Aside from the hefty allegations, her reasoning for not flirting with Todd has always been because her husband is far superior. Which would lead me to question why her decision not to partake would be due to her marriage being intact in the first place. What I find more concerning is this screen grab of an email between she and Road Hog. Here she discusses being an active student in a profession that would be quite physically taxing. He had in other interviews this last week she has proclaimed cancer, MS, and an entire slew of other reasons that she is so entirely ill that she cannot even manage to recall the recent past, let alone leave her home very often. I shall continue to sit by and watch this unfold. My dear viewers, proceed with caution irregardless of which side of the fence you fall on in this unique situation. I may cover this story more so as information becomes available. I gave solid advice, even then. And here we are, with more information coming available. 'Tis as if I am able to see into the future. Or, perhaps I just have a knack for predicting complete catastrophe. Never mind. So, as you see, the new and existing resentment for Road Hog fully came into play at this point in the game. I did, and still do, believe that AZ had every right to question the claims of Julie. And, if I am being honest, I feel Julie has gotten off scot-fucking-free. With an aftermath of epic proportion. Such as the internet. Never mind. In the wake of the initial accusations, many hands reached for the pot. Opinions were made. Road Hog took quite a lot of hits for his decision. And, understandably, Spiracy questioned everything. Well, as we all know, Todd, the cupcake killer, Paulson came into the comments of AZ, and I believe a few others, and defended himself. I shall not play my entire video on the topic, but let's reread his statement. Todd Paulson responded to the allegations made by Julie G. of sexual harassment. Oh boy. Where do I start? First off, I want to say that I'm not going to address anybody except AZ. I'm not here to blast anyone and I'm not here to get blasted. I was never really going to say anything about Julie's BS story because we, Katie and I, are trying to just stay out of all of the drama that gets fabricated every day. But, it seems Julie just won't let this shit die. The only thing that has any truth to her story is that she did reach out to me and asked if I would make a nameplate for her. She wanted it to have a Celtic vibe. But I can honestly say that I don't even think it ever came to fruition. I've looked at my past Etsy transactions as well as my templates that I keep from every other commission piece I've made for people. I have no record of me making something for her, nor do I have record of her making a purchase. All of the commission pieces I've done, I posted them on Etsy with a note stating it was for a specific person. So I can keep my records straight. She also claims that I charged her $49.95 or something. Anybody can easily see on my account that I don't set my pricing like that. Now let's get to the real meat and potatoes. I did not, nor would I ever proposition her. Number 1, as all of you can clearly see, I love my wife. I'm not the brightest bulb on the tree, but I'm certainly not stupid enough to hit on one of Katie's subs. The lies she told on our H channel are just that, lies. It never happened. Period. To me, It's very easy to see why RH was so gracious to her as to allow her a platform. He never bothered to vet her story. He never bothered to ask follow-up questions. Because in my opinion, he knew what he was doing. He's pissed at me for copyright striking him because his parody video of the Canis Dirus song Father was not a true parody. And he knows he has no leg to stand on. He knows zero about copyright law. He threatened to sue me over a false claim, but I'm not the least bit worried. Especially since he told me he would represent himself in the suit. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out that he had a clear motive for going forward with her BS story. Julie is the main culprit here, but in my opinion a lot of folks are letting him skate on this. Anyway, like I previously said, I'm not here to blast you as Ed. I'm simply here to help try and clear some things up. I've seen a lot of people pose the question of why haven't I commented on this. Well, so far I've not, because nobody has bothered to seek me out and ask me about it. People sure can find me social media and a lot of stuff about me when they have an agenda. So I'm not that hard to find. RH, in his infinite wisdom, thinks that part of the burden of proof lies with me. What? I'm sorry that I don't have screenshots or anything other than to say it simply did not happen. But I cannot prove a negative. The conversation she says happened between us does not exist. Anyway, I've probably typed enough on here. But also, just for the record, I've never beat my child nor am I a white supremacist. There is no animosity here. I appreciate you looking into finding out the truth about Julie's crap. While it does bother me that she would make that up about me, it's even more bothersome that she's showing complete disregard for actual victims. So, at this point, Road Hog made a series of videos. While he did apologize, in his usual fashion, there was a but at the end. Also understandable. There was some bad blood between Todd and Road Hog. Oddly, not due to Road Hog's offensive choice of titles for Todd's wife. But due to Road Hog using a song of Todd's as a parody, resulting in a copyright strike. Well, things got heated in Road Hog world. And he said some things that were quite offensive, and likely not with much pre-thought. I tend to just accept him for who he is, to a point. I shall get to this in a moment. Spiracy began to question the intentions of Road Hog. And this questioning may have been innocent enough in its conception. However, with ever-growing speculation and sides beginning to form, as they often do, in this sect of the internet, the accusation of blackmail was born. Now, in between this there was much side noise. Plenty of it came from the Unirok camp. Likely in favor of Catherine Joy more than Todd. Steadily, however, the focus of this building drama was between Spiracy and Road Hog. I've done my best to piece together this timeline for you and the escalation of shade thrown. On 5 November, Spiracy hosted a stream titled Todd Paulson Breaks His Silence. During the stream, she appeared to remain relatively passive toward Road Hog. The topic at hand was focused on Cupcake Bandit's response comment as well as incontinency and Julie's story. However, her chat was not so passive. This is what I believe led to Spiracy posting on her Instagram. On 6 November, she shared a screenshot and stated her viewers were insistent that Road Hog was blackmailing, or had blackmailed, Todd. She asked for thoughts on this perspective. At a point on 6 November, Road Hog went to his channel and responded to the blackmail theory. At this point, tensions were building. Yet, still quite mellow in comparison to current day.
All you women got this fucking cocksucker. That's exactly what it is. You run your cocksuckers and you think you're important. You're not. At least I have the balls to put my face out there, put my words out. The rest of you are keyboard fucking warriors. But if you want to sit there and back Todd Paulson and go, oh, I feel so bad for Todd Paulson. I feel so bad. Fuck him. He's had his chance with me multiple times to come and talk about the situations. But you see the little bitch is shut up.
Now, here he is addressing the chat from AZ's stream. more so than Spiracy herself. And, this language is nothing foreign to Road Hog. I also tend to agree that Todd should have addressed this situation directly with him. Given the behavioral history of both Catherine and Todd, I am not alarmed that they chose to address this through not only a third party, but, to their own benefit, a drama commentary channel who I am assuming they hoped would have a go at Road Hog. And, my dear viewers, that is precisely what happened. This was the start of the turning point to disaster between the two creators. And, while I may simply be a cat, it is my belief this was a calculated move by Todd and Catherine to create distraction via yet another infight among her detractors. From my observation, the true blood battle began when AZ hosted her stream 12 of November asking viewers to vote on whether or not Road Hog blackmailed Todd. In the stream, Road Hog comes into the chat. AZ fairly gives him opportunity to come into her panel and converse on the topic. Road Hog claimed he was unable to attend.
Shit what people say. I'm not that fucking Simon a Pop-Tart. I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god, I went into Road Hog's chat and they were mean to me. He even kicked me out. Guess what? They did kick me out. It was an accident though. They did say sorry. But if you think that I did not see what people were saying, you're sadly mistaken. September 12th video. Is it gone? If you've done nothing wrong, why is the video gone? If it wasn't blackmail, why is the video gone? Oh, you wanted to check the timelines, right? What timeline were you trying to check? Sit here, and since you have so much to say, let us know. Are you serious? Okay. Why did you take down the September 12th video if you did nothing wrong? In timeline are you talking about? You said you had to take down your September 12th video to get your quote timeline right.
This has, as we all know, rolled downhill at a turbulent speed. Both sides of this battle are hitting below the proverbial belt. And, as is the nature of online wars, other creators are coming up for their chance at a battle of their own. AZ's subscribers, as well as AZ herself, have said terrible things to and about Road Hog and his wife. However, Road Hog has been quite the asshole himself, taking shots at Spiracy's appearance and sobriety.
Oh, you out because she's like, now Road Hog's disgusting and he's this and he's that. Well, so are you fucking pillhead. Didn't you have a fucking relapse? You sitting here calling somebody disgusting. Fuck you. I don't want your respect. Trying to be like your fake Boston ass. And no disrespect to Boston, great city, Boston. You don't even live in Boston, bitch. You live like quite a few miles up a dirty ass city. So you want to go low? I'm going to go low. I tried to deal with this in a situation where I tried to do it with respect. Even though we were fighting, you wanted to show that you were a bitch tonight. And you're like, go ahead, block him. I don't want to hear him. That's what you did, AZ. Sound like Todd Paulson and shit. Why don't you go look at the response that Todd Paulson gave me earlier? He was in your fucking comment section again, going on, oh, and then I said, hey, Todd, do you want me to take it down? No, he writes out a 4-page fucking letter talking about, no, man, we're going to handle it. And then he told me to go back to my echo chamber. I told him to go back to his room where his wife puts his ass. So here it is. As far as I'm concerned, AZ is nothing but a bleach-haired little bitch.
From threats of reporting, to dragging children into the argument, to mobs of anger on both sides. My dear viewers, this is the definition of a shite show. Once again, I may simply just be a cat. However, I shall offer my opinion on this topic. With my sole focus being the feud between Road Hog and Spiracy, with all of the outside additions into the drama set aside. Cats are typically quite a good example of fighting fairly. Do I believe that Spiracy is a terrible person? No. Do I believe that Spiracy is a junkie, imbecile, poor mother, or a snake in the grass using this as a way to garner views? No. In fact, I quite like her. It is my belief that this is all an elaborate setup. Paranoid does this make me? Perhaps. I shall get to that in a moment. Do I believe that Road Hog is an abusive husband and father? No. Do I believe that Road Hog is a danger to women? No. Do I believe that Road Hog is a terrible person? No. My dear viewers, cats have a way of expressing their grievances much more eloquently than humans. While I might be a right asshole, well, I might throw shade and one-liners better than any commentator on the planet. Excuse that last bit. Cats are, after all, narcissists. Never mind. I believe in equal fields in such battles. I do not believe that men should come into these aggressive combat situations with women. It has been my experience that women operate from a different place than men. This is no jab at women, after all they hold an advantage in many ways. But, well, women tend to fight from emotion and a protective place, whether that be their reputation or their children. We men have a tendency to hit below the belt. Likely because we're aware how absolutely fucking painful anything below the belt can be. Never mind. This entire situation could have been avoided through private conversation. Whether that was an obtainable option, at this point we shall never know. I do believe, hear me out, that this was an orchestrated move by Todd Paulson. He could have easily confronted his male counterpart, whether in comments or via email. Yes, he chose to seek out a creator that I believe he felt was tough enough and forward enough to have a go at Road Hog. After all, Spiracy is no wilting wallflower. She is quite a tough woman, a trait in her I quite admire. Yet, there are often downfalls to such abrasive exteriors. I believe Catherine and Todd knew that this would turn into yet another infight, that would ultimately distract the masses from Catherine's ever-deteriorating behaviors. And, that is, precisely what is happening. In a perfect world, this never would have happened. And now, as battles go, we have sprawling fields full of hurt feelings, wicked accusations, personal livelihoods at risk, and a community further divided. My dear viewers, Road Hog, and Spiracy, do hear me when I say I took much time collecting my thoughts to present this video. I do not come from a place of bias. I do believe that the Paulsons have got your goat. I sit back and watch all of this rather petty back and forth, and cannot help but wonder if this is yet more fodder to boost Catherine Joy's ego. After all, if you are all too busy fighting, you won't bring to light all of her atrocities. In fact, I am working on a video of her recent disgusting behaviors, all of which you have missed, and this includes her use and disgusting verbiage in reference to a newborn baby. I do understand that neither of you like to refer to yourselves as Auntie Joy. I also feel this way. However, let us not forget that both of your channels were allegedly created for the sole purpose of holding others accountable. And sometimes, as brutal to the ego as that blow may be, we must hold ourselves accountable. I do not believe either of you are right. And in some of your arguments I do not believe either of you are wrong. Take this advice from a robot cat however you must. Do know it comes from a place of good fortune and thoughts, not malice. This concludes my possibly part 1 timeline of this epic. Cheers.